Back in the 90s, I, like many of you, had Demo 1 for my PlayStation 1. It was that legendary free disc bundled with the console designed to show exactly what this shiny new system could do. Strangely enough, there are roughly 10 different versions of Demo 1, which of course changed throughout the life of the system as newer games became available. Now, when most people look back at this demo, the thing they remember the most is the T-Rex model. And yeah, me too. However, there was one other demo, a terrible demo, that I remember even more. And that was Monster Trucks. It was one of the most basic of the bunch, a time trial level where you simply drive around a set course in an early development build of the game. No other cars, no music, nothing. This is literally it. But stuck between birthdays and waiting for the next game to play, I'll never forget loading up this game, getting bored, and then discovering that I could actually break out of the set path that the developers had laid out for me. Suddenly, I was in an empty, open arena that allowed you to drive on the water, find random paths, and just explore. The demo had a hidden timer, and eventually the game will just freeze up and stop working. But before that happens, no matter how far you drive into any direction, you will never reach the edge of this world. I was completely fascinated with doing this. I would load up the game, get over that ledge as quickly as possible, and then just go and explore. It was like my own personal backrooms. I would just go in this over and over and over again, trying to find anything, but I never could. That was until one day where I actually did find something. Turns out, the developers had actually dumped the other monster truck models in a clump right in a random part of the stage. You could drive right through them, sometimes they would roll forward ever so slightly, and you could actually hear the rumble of their engines. They didn't actually do anything, but still, I loved that I discovered something that, to this day, I've never heard anybody else ever mention. But as pointless as this little out-of-bounds discovery may be to some of you, it's the perfect example showing that there is still quite a lot to be found inside of demo discs. Usually, it's just some leftover code, an unused asset, or an empty map. But sometimes, just sometimes, developers leave behind things that are far, far worse. In today's video, we're shifting gears. I want to talk about the demos that had some not so great stuff hidden inside them. We're talking about hard crashes, corrupted data, and mistakes so severe that they became legendary within the gaming community. And to kick things off, we're going to keep it with PlayStation, looking at the PlayStation Underground magazine disc and looking at a demo that caused quite a bit of upset. Now picture this, it's late 2004, you open up the mail and there it is right there, a brand new PlayStation Underground disc. For those who don't remember, or like me didn't live in America where this was a thing, PlayStation Underground was a magazine subscription service that regularly sent out these jam-packed demo discs straight to your door. These were not paper-based magazines, but instead everything was found on the disc.
So PlayStation 2 is just a few months away. Tell me you're getting one.
Are you kidding? With so many games available at launch, you know where I'll be on October 26th. I can't believe you get all that gaming power for only $299.
You and me both. Oh, sorry, gang. Maggie here with the summer issue of the PlayStation Underground.
Yeah, do I even need to tell you that this thing was official?
I've never seen old Spidey looking so good.
The specific disc that we're going to be chatting about today was the Holiday 2004 PlayStation Underground disc, and honestly, looking at the lineup found on this thing, it was jam-packed. We're talking Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal, Jak 3, Star Wars Battlefront, and a highly anticipated cel-shaded beat-em-up sequel from Capcom.
Viewtiful Joe 2!
It was the ultimate weekend treat. You pop the disc in, you play the game, you enjoy yourself, and then the screen goes black. If we rewind back a bit, we can see that this upload by Mike Supel shows he has a full memory card, he plays the game, it crashes, and voila! All of his save data is now gone. See you later 100-hour playthrough of Final Fantasy X and GTA San Andreas, ain't no way you're getting any of it back. Everything you've ever had on that memory card is now missing. Due to an absolutely catastrophic oversight in the coding of the Viewtiful Joe 2 demo, simply playing the trial triggered a bug that completely formatted any memory card inserted into the console. Every unlocked character, every grinding session, every 100% completion file that you had spent years building up on that precious 8 megabyte piece of plastic, entirely wiped out and gone forever. Can you just imagine the heartbreak?
I still have the demo disc, but finishing it never crashed my game, but all my saves were wiped regardless. Final Fantasy X with all weapons fully upgraded, GTA San Andreas 100% completion, Ratchet & Clank 1 and 2 completed, and all gone. Just another excuse to play them again, with the exception of finishing Lulu and Whacker's weapons.
Well, yeah, okay. He didn't seem to take it all that badly. Remember, we didn't have cloud saves back then. When one of these memory cards got wiped, that was it. Gone. Now, the big question is, how on earth did a demo have the power to format a memory card? Usually, demos don't even have save functions enabled. Well, somehow, this slip-up bypassed Sony's strict technical restrictions and certifications entirely. It was such a massive screw-up that Sony had to go into full panic mode. They frantically fired out emails to their PlayStation Underground subscribers, basically begging them to physically remove their memory cards before booting up the disc. And it got so bad, they even offered some affected players a free game as an apology. Titles like Sly 2, which is nice, I guess, but a free platformer doesn't exactly bring back your maxed out sphere grid or your perfectly bred gold chocobo, does it? Contra fans, ever played Blazing Squad, My Friend Pedro, Hunt Down, or Guns, Gore and Cannoli 2? Zelda fans, ever played The Spirit and the Mouse, The Plucky Squire, Death's Door, or Lil Gator game? And what about you Streets of Rage fans? Ever played Karate Survivor, Blasphemous, Streets of Rage 4, or Final Vendetta, a game with the greatest soundtrack since the last Streets of Rage game? Well, lucky for you, every game I just showed off and every game you see on the screen is less than just a few quid. You can play all of these games for less than a few quid. Thank you to everybody who has been supporting the show and doing that exact thing by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen or clicking the link below and buying these and plenty of other games with massive discounts. All thanks to this channel's sponsor, Instant Gaming. Once again, just scan that QR code on the screen or click that link in the bio, make your way over to the site, hit that search bar, click Advanced Search, drag that price bar all the way down to the desired amount and find a whole heap of classic, retro and indie style games for the same price as something off the McDonald's saver menu. And of course, there's plenty of newer games that are available too. Games like Escape the Backrooms, IGN's Game of the Year mixtape, if anyone out there wants to play that. Or what about the brand new James Bond 007 games? There really is so much to choose from. Whatever you decide to get by clicking that link or scanning the QR code, not only will you most likely find your games a whole lot cheaper, but you will be supporting this show too. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you Instant Gaming for the long time sponsorship. But for now, let's get back to the show. For this next segment, we need to make our way to the summer of 2011. EA Sports was gearing up to release FIFA 12, and their marketing machine was working overtime. For once, this new entry wouldn't just be the same game again with an updated phone book of names, because this time, they actually updated the gameplay too. Well, okay, updated the gameplay? That's a bit of a stretch. The massive selling point for 2011 was the Player Impact engine. EA promised that this was going to change sports games forever. Gone were the days of canned repetitive animations when two players bumped into each other. From now on, every single tackle, jostle and fall would be calculated in real time. The game would factor a momentum, weight and the angle of the challenge to create a completely true-to-life physical reaction. It sounded absolutely groundbreaking. If you like those sort of games, that is. And then the demo dropped. Within hours of the FIFA 12 trial going live on Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network, it became abundantly clear that the Impact engine wasn't exactly ready for the big leagues. In fact, it was brilliantly broken. Instead of gritty, realistic football tackles, players were experiencing a bundle simulator with a bit of footy slapped on the side. Which honestly, to me, sounds like the best version of FIFA by a long shot. Because the brand new physics engine didn't always know where one player's hitbox ended and another's began, two players colliding in midair would frequently hit the turf and get tangled up together. They became locked in a frantic mess of an animation that honestly is quite brilliant to watch. It completely broke the game. For fans of the FIFA series, they couldn't go out there and just play a standard game because one slight nudge would have your player quadruple backflipping across the court. But the crazy thing is, this broken demo didn't actually cause a massive controversy or a PR disaster. Instead, it created massive YouTubers. You see, again, the year was 2011. Writers Gaming YouTube was really starting to find its footing. The FIFA 12 demo glitches became an absolute goldmine for content creators. People were downloading the demo not just to test out the passing mechanics, but specifically to try and break the physics engine and upload the craziest fails that they could find, and one of those creators was KSI.
Hey guys, your boy KSI, GDBT. I want the F Bender. As you can see here, Bender is on the ball, Iniesta is on him like a rush. Abedao is closing in. Bender tries to pass it, gets intercepted. Then look what happens next. I mean, it's just oh my god, and he's literally flinging him.
This is a KSI video, a 25 million sub channel back when he only had 3,000 subs to his name at the beginning of the year, and because of videos like this, he got it up to 150,000 by the end. Hopefully I'm not too late for the party. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Now, EA eventually did tweak the engine and tone down the madness for the final retail release, but for a few glorious weeks, the FIFA 12 demo gave us the most broken, wildly entertaining physics sandbox that just so happened to be disguised as a football game. For this segment, let's leave Sony alone and instead let's go and have a look at Nintendo. And more specifically, let's go and have a look at a particular game that caused 3 very big issues. Yep, you're getting 3 for the price of 1 with this segment. Who out there remembers the hype around the 3DS version of Super Smash Bros? I do. Heck, I even bought the game on the 3DS and the Wii U just so I could get the exclusive CD soundtrack sent to me. Haha, I sure do miss those Club Nintendo days. Such an awesome soundtrack. Anyway, specifically looking at that 3DS version of Super Smash Bros., like I said, you got 3 issues to talk about. First up, we have the wonderfully bizarre bug that players stumbled upon almost instantly. In this early build, you could set up a match with CPU-controlled characters, and if played correctly, there was a chance that the game would completely destroy itself if someone played as Yoshi. Through a bizarre combination of AI behavior and random item drops, you could actually get Yoshi to blow up into a gargantuan size. How big, you ask? We are talking a screen-filling monstrous dinosaur whose hitboxes were completely broken, turning the match into a completely unplayable, chaotic mess. Funny to look at for a few seconds, sure, but as far as quality control goes, yep, that's a bad one. The second mishap we're going to be chatting about with this demo comes because of some heavy-handed restrictions by Nintendo themselves. When the demo hit the eShop, Nintendo decided to lock it behind a strict 30 play limit. In other words, once the game had been loaded up and played 30 times, you're not going to be able to load it up and play it anymore. You just got to go out there and actually buy the game, you cheap sod. Well, that's one option. The other is just to never close down the game. Once you finish playing, just snap the 3DS shut, put it into sleep mode, make sure it's plugged into the wall so it doesn't lose power. Technically, because the game session never actually closed, it never registered as a new play session. People were leaving their consoles running for weeks on end just to keep the dream alive, beating the system by literally just closing the lid. This is a great one. And finally, you got number 3, and although this one doesn't specifically relate to the demo itself, it definitely was amplified by it. People who still owned the ugly OG model of the 3DS were playing the demo so intensely that they were literally breaking their analog sticks. The fragile sliding plastic circle pad was designed for pulling weeds in Animal Crossing, sure, but frantic, sweaty, rapid-fire inputs in a competitive fighter like Smash Bros. Resulted in many gamers' thumbsticks snapping off completely or being torn to shreds right out of the plastic housing. So between screen-swallowing dinosaurs, holding consoles hostage in sleep mode, and physically snapping off thumbsticks, the Smash 3DS demo definitely left its mark. But as chaotic as all of this was, let's go over to the mobile space for the next segment for what is without a doubt the most evil on this list. Say what you want about mobile games, but for the most part, when a game-breaking glitch finds its way onto one of these games, 99.9% of you will never know of its existence because of a mandatory update next time you log in. Still, it does happen, and even though these are not technically demos per se, the way most mobile games work is that they get released, and in a lot of cases, you, the player, are the quality control guinea pig. And best of all, most of the time, you're paying for that privilege. So, in a sense, yes, they are unfinished demos. With that in mind, you've got games like Fortnite. Ever heard of it? Back in 2018, when Epic Games launched the highly anticipated Android version, they made the bold decision to bypass the Google Play Store entirely, simply because they didn't want to give Google a 30% cut of their profits. Instead, players had to download a specific Fortnite installer directly from Epic's own website. The issue with doing this, however, was that bypassing the official storefront left a massive backdoor wide open on your phone. The installer had a catastrophic man-in-the-disk security flaw. When it downloaded the game to the phone's shared storage, any other sketchy background app on the device could silently hijack the process and install actual, literal malware inside of Fortnite directly onto your Nokia 3210. Actually, Fortnite can't run on a... Oh, come on! This is a retro channel! All of this turned what should have been the biggest game release of the year on mobile phones into a huge security risk. But, look, can I be honest with you guys? I'm not a Fortnite gamer. I didn't actually know about this until I researched this video. So, look, here's one more for you. And we're going to talk about a game that, honestly, I did put quite a lot of time into. The Simpsons Tapped Out. Now, this was a massive release for EA back in early 2012. You rebuild Springfield, you hang out with the cast, and eventually spend real-world money on premium donuts. Yep. Anyway, when the supposed finished 1.0 version of the game eventually launched, it was so utterly busted that it basically was still an unfinished trial. The second it went live, EA's servers completely buckled under the weight of the player base, infinite loading screens filled the land, connection errors popped up constantly, and most importantly for this episode, a notorious bug that nuked your entire town and reset your progress to 0 popped up on multiple Springfield-obsessed gaming screens, just like mine. It was such a train wreck that EA actually had to completely pull the game off of the iOS App Store, just days after its release. To many around the world, the game remained completely dead and unlisted for months, whilst EA desperately rebuilt the back end. Meaning that anyone out there who downloaded it on day one was basically just playing the worst beta test imaginable. Again, depending on where you lived in the world, that is. Personally, if you ask me, my money was on Shelbyville. Oh, let's close the door. Hey there, guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, really enjoyed making this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. This is the part of the video where I give a massive shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon and YouTube memberships, with an extra big shout out going to the following. Actually, look, all these people down here want to join them? Go and sign up yourself. I'm messing up my own outros quite a lot at the moment. Yeah, let's give a massive shout out to the following: Akatimo84, Andrew Dalton, Bran Perez, British Video Game Nerd, Caroline, Stephen, Chevmatic, I've messed up the order, Chris A.K. Brackman, Conrad Constantine, The Action Saxon, Dina81, Derekuda, Enraged Gecko, Ian Quell, Insidious Bliss, Jay's Manchild, Jabba Al Aiden, Jeff Mianowski, Keiju Samurai 1985, Kamatura Villarreal, Livestream, Mass Replay, Mike Fallon, Mind of the Unsane, Nicholas Bertner, Patrick Grip Jansen, Paul Floats, Richard Algic, Shadow Dragon, Stephen Hefner, Swift Justice Peterson, The Sneaky Ferret, Thomas Coyote Baxter, Vitas Varnes, Vike Echo, XZX, and Ye Old Hamburglar. Man, I've spent way too long on these videos. Yeah, but either way, look, I really hope you enjoyed this one. This was quite fun to explore, and I tell you what, going back and trying to find where those trucks were again at the beginning of the video took me a little while, but I got there. I'd love to see a bird's eye view, sort of an out of bounds bird's eye view of what that track looks like and how far you can actually go. I didn't show it in the video, but you can even go into the black area and just keep driving. You don't hit a wall or anything, you just keep going. So I'd love to see how big that area actually is, because in the time limit they give you, you don't have enough time to check it all out. But look, either way, there it is. Much love, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.
Here comes the man, hot damn. The big boy stands with an upper hand, making funky tracks with my man Michael Jackson. A smooth criminal, hat the man is Mike, so relax. Mingle, jingle in the jungle. One rush the door, 3 and 4 in a bundle. Execute the plan, first I cool it like a fan. Got one Janet, then one guy, never